O young Nietzsche, how studious, how zealous in your faith! What ripples the events of your youth will send throughout your years! What can we learn from you? What would you want us to take away? This mini-essay is the first in what may become a series dedicated to studying the early lives of some of humanity's greatest thinkers. Nietzsche was born in 1844 in a small village in Prussia. His father was a Lutheran pastor who died when he was young. Nietzsche remembers his father as morbid, not just physically, but also spiritually. In his later terminology, a life denier, rather than a life affirmer, someone low in energy, withdrawn from life in hopes of finding their true home in another. It seems possible that one of the things the mature Nietzsche held, at least unconsciously, against the Christian worldview was its reduction of this world to a waiting room we sinners are forced to inhabit prior to our departure for the true world above. It deprived his father of the fullness of life. Nietzsche went on to attend a pristine gymnasium where he would begin to study languages and classic works of literature. In the summer holidays of 1860, Nietzsche and two friends decided to begin a society for literature and the arts, to be called Germania. Religion will come to play an important part in Nietzsche's thought. We must reference a note he wrote when he was 17. About God, he writes, "All he gives I will joyfully accept." This is an almost exact formulation of the doctrine Nietzsche's later thinking comes to call amor fati, the love of fate, and sometimes willing the eternal return of the same, the doctrine that an ideal of human well-being is able to say a joyful yes to everything that has happened and thus will its eternal return. The close similarity between this and Nietzsche's youthful Christian piety suggests that at the heart of his mature thought is the effort to rediscover, even in God's absence, central elements of the passionate Christian stance to existence. The twin human needs for solitude and for society are presumably universal, but there is no doubt that Nietzsche possessed the former to an abnormally high degree. In his maturity, largely because he had a great many things to say, solitude, one might suggest, is the fate of the writer. The reason he finds in nature his truest joy is not that there is no joy to be found among humans, but rather that it is in the sublimity of nature that he rediscovers God. Two themes which will come to dominate Nietzsche's later philosophy receive an important airing here. First, the posing of a stark choice between often bitter truth and often happy illusion, and second, Nietzsche's free spirits, as he will later say, binding himself heroically to the mass of truth. Here the ways of men divide. If you wish to strive for peace of soul and happiness, then believe. If you wish to be a discipline of truth, then inquire. When he was 21, there occurred the most important philosophical encounter of Nietzsche's life. In his landlord's bookshop, he discovered a second-hand copy of Schopenhauer's masterpiece, The World as Will and Representation. He bought it, read it cover to cover, and was bowled over. He immediately declared himself a Schopenhauerian, as he would continue to do so for decades. Nietzsche most admires Schopenhauer's honesty. Schopenhauer confronted the dark, tragic aspects of existence head-on, the suffering, the futility, the endless striving, at a time when most philosophy was idealistic and optimistic. Schopenhauer's concept of the will, a blind, irrational force underlying all existence, struck Nietzsche as a profound insight into the nature of reality. And lastly, art as salvation. Schopenhauer saw art, especially music, as a temporary escape from the suffering of life. Nietzsche, an amateur composer himself, resonated deeply with this. Schopenhauer is essentially Buddhist, believing in the deep suffering of life, whose only escape is asceticism and art and contemplation for brief moments. But Nietzsche could not remain a disciple forever. Where Schopenhauer saw escape, Nietzsche saw affirmation. He would one day turn Schopenhauer's renunciation upside down, insisting not on the negation of the will, but on its celebration. Two traits show up in every account of his youth and early career: an aesthetic appetite, music and Greek tragedy, and an uncompromising intellectual intensity. These twin enthusiasms created the distinctive crossfire of his thought, a thinker who could read Greek choruses line by line and then posit an ecstatic will that animated art and life. The willingness to combine analytic precision with sweeping, aphoristic generalization became Nietzsche's signature. I have not read all of Nietzsche's work, only fragments, but I find him an interesting person. Prolific, sick, mad, thoughtful, reflective, bold. Some lessons we can take away from Nietzsche. Discipline and intensity cultivate originality and depth. Solitude provides the space to think clearly and uncover essential truths. Beliefs are meant to be adapted, not blindly adopted. Truth is a sterner, more enduring companion than comfort. And the union of opposites, especially art and intellect, yields the richest life and the most profound thinking. This was a short mini essay I composed on Nietzsche, really from a few main sources, including one key biography. Nietzsche was a deep, serious thinker. He thought through things. He was also a dedicated writer. Both of these qualities I admire greatly, and I aspire to exhibit in my own life. The whole philosophy of this series posits that you can tell a lot about who a person will become based on their early experiences and early traits. I'm not sure this entirely holds up, but it's what I'm going with for now. Let me know what you think about this style, this tone. I'm not sure who the next person I'm going to study is, but you guys will see soon enough. Thanks for listening, watching, and if you enjoyed, do all those things I want you to do. I'll see you next time. This has been Max Depth, a short mini essay on Friedrich Nietzsche.